Right. Welcome to the Wednesday conversations, the Redefining Beauty. Um,
Thank you, Batum.
yeah, excited to have you on board for personal reasons and for community reasons, because a lot of people love you, a lot of people follow you, but a lot of people don't know a lot about your personal space. So I think this is an opportunity for many
Yeah,
people to kind of know what goes on in your world,
yeah,
um,
yeah,
as the Queen of Quirk. But I want to start off with, before we get to body positivity and beauty and body image, let's talk about music. You're a musician, you're an
yeah.
artist, you're a songwriter, and I know you've got a latest single, Bophelo, and
Yeah.
Bophelo is right. I don't want to talk about I don't want to talk about the song per se, but I want to talk about your music as a whole. Do you
Sure,
do you
sure.
write do you write from a personal space? Do you write as a form of expression? Is your music reflective of what you're going through, of what you go through?
Most of the time, like when I read back the lyrics I've written for every song, I just always feel like the lyrics almost like found me. Like so therefore, yeah, I think it's just an issue of expression, and I think I express myself before what I'm actually feeling. So it's like the lyric will come out and I'll be writing "Bophelo easy ra 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 ra," and then in retrospect I'm like, holy smokes, I was really going through a lot when all my lyrics usually end up being such mirror images, and I always tell people Uguti, like, nah, my songs, I always seem, as Lerato, I seem to catch up with Elo, in terms of the meaning of the songs and even the lyrics of the songs. So I mean, it sounds very schizophrenic when I'm saying Lerato, and Elo, but that's how
Exactly.
I also that's how I also consume my music. I listen to myself like when all is done. So when the painting is done, when the studio work is done, I have to consume it, or rather, let's say I'm able to consume it or watch and experience it as an audience member because I have to give myself feedback and it has to be sober or frank, and not biased. It's schizophrenic, but it's fine. It
No,
works for me.
let's talk about this schizophrenia. Is Elo your alter ego?
Clearly, Elo is my alter ego, and I've never wanted to admit that live, but it is. And this thing actually confronted me a week ago when somebody goes, dude, okay, so how do I introduce myself? Like I go through this a lot. Like when I meet people on the street and we meet for the first time and it's like, hi, what's your name? I always go, I don't know, who should I be? Like, should I be Elo? Should I be Lorata? And I'm like, okay, my street name is, my ID name is, that's how I introduce myself because I think also it's something I was taught at school to be able to separate the two characters, so that you can deliver the job without. So at school, something that used to always happen with us at school, at performance school was get the job done. Nobody cares. Nobody really cares about what's going on in your life. People have paid for tickets and people are here. So what? You just got dumped a minute ago. Get the job done. Do you know? So it's like, how do I get the job done? I need to separate the two moments. Like I need to be able to go, okay. It's like Kamo can become with a mom and then there's Kamo the manager. Do you know what I mean? Like that actually exists for everybody to be able to cope with different worlds. Everybody's got it. Trust me.
Now I'm confused because and
Yeah.
when it comes to alter egos, I always refer to Beyonce because Beyonce in
Yeah.
interviews as Beyonce, she's someone else, and Beyonce on stage is someone else,
She's
and she
someone
talks about
else.
being overcome by something.
Oh, yeah, overcoming. I can say, I can say it, but I do know, Uguti, it's imperative for me or for anybody who's like, sharing their art, to separate themselves, because, sometimes if the two middle, you kind of don't know how to exist in either world, do you know? So I can't come back home and be like, you know what, I just had a great show. Honey, I don't know, I deserve like, I don't know, I just call a chef, you know what I mean? I can't be able to be like, nah, dude, like, I'm not gonna give you a hug right now because I'm just LOL. And, because there are things that it's like acting, man, to some extent. There are things that I can be comfortable in pulling out of myself if I'm in a certain perspective. Perspective is actually the right word. In a certain perspective compared to the real me who just wakes up and farts out of bed and just
Can you see how
is not
confused
trying
I
to do
am?
anything. I see. I can't go deeper into it, but it's real. And the crazy thing is like with Beyonce, ke bona ka di-interviews. Like so when she does even me, like when she was like, yeah, nna ke Sasha Fierce, you know, and then she does like interviews or you see like her pictures like on the streets and she looks like also next door. Like ngwanyana o ke ngwanyana as it Beyonce all, you know. I don't know what that is for her in terms of being taken over by something, but for me it's just almost like a switch. Like I can just switch it on and switch it off.
Okay, so does this mean, because I also want to talk about your dress sense, right? Because that's
Yeah,
tied to your music.
not
Okay, even
necessarily.
even even in normal settings, you still dress much more differently than us. But
Yeah.
but like, is there like is that the whole, do you dress up for Elo, and when you are Lerato, you dress up for Lerato?
For showbiz, you have to be a different character. Like namontlung, like you'll find me ka skipa sa, you know, kikinsa skipa sa mahala sa Pick and Pay, you know, and my slacks, and I'm just like, you know, but if I'm gonna go on stage that day, I have to like prepare a look because that's the obvious defining line of like switching of my switch. Like my on and off switch has to look differently. I mean, on the daily, when I meet with you at Parkhurst, I just like dressing up. I'm just like, "Ke rata diaparo." It's that basic to me, and I like exploring in clothes because that's more tied up in my actual identity. But like with the Eloza thing, yeah, I have to costume Eloza. I have to, you know, because she's somebody else, you know. She really is.
You're okay.
And I
So
look after.
who am I talking to? Am I talking to Lerato, or am I talking to Elo?
Look, you're talking to Loretta about Elo, you know, and I can, you know, I can do the mixing like a cocktail.
Okay,
I
okay.
can do the cocktail.
Back to the dress sense.
Yeah,
Was that a conscious decision, both as Elo and as Lerato, that this will be my identity? Is that an extension of truly who you are and how you wanna be seen? Lebala costume wear
yeah,
for
yeah,
Elo.
yeah, for Elo, yeah. I mean, look, if you're talking about right now in particular, I come from the school of thought, yeah, presentation, you know. And if I know ukuthi, okay, I'm actually here representing Eloza, so you know, Lerata's representing Eloza. Sounds so crazy, but I keep saying it loud. You know, I need to be able to show up. Also, like I just respect the people that are following and the people that are watching. You know, it's like at least if I'm gonna give you data, give me something to look at, you know, or something
Okay,
interesting.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
It's
yeah,
also like
okay.
honoring your brand.
Tonight you look very cute. You look
Thank
like a
you,
Lerato
man.
that's going out. You don't look like a Elo
Yeah,
that's about to hit
I
the
don't look like.
stairs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy enough,
But
you know, I recognized that today in my makeup, while I was doing makeup, I was just like, actually, this is definitely my default interview look, like in terms of the hair, you know. With Eloza would have had like the whole head pink and braid and whatever, because she would be like doing a show, you know. But
yeah.
like as me representing Eloza, this is my default.
Okay, so what's up with the pink? What, like, are you,
Look,
what, explain the pink.
I, you know what? The pink for me has become a power statement because I struggled so much with my femininity, and defining who I am as a girl or from a female perspective. Also, like after everything that I've been through, you know, as a kid, I really didn't like being a girl. I didn't want to be female, and I went through those stages where it was a bit of a tug and war, you know. So, you know, we obviously know pink is one of those colors used to represent the female figure. And with time, what's about I just, fell for it. I just fell for it, or rather, let's not say fall for it. Let's say I just kind of needed a monument to show my beginning and continuing of my femininity, of being a female, of being soft
Okay.
and tender, of being
Okay.
overly emotional. So that color represents that to me, and it's become such a powerful thing for me.
Is it not limiting? Is it not limiting, or will you not be forced to
Oh,
always be restricted to the color because you've been identified
I,
using that color?
it would be limiting if it was chosen for me, but I am the one that took it on. Do you know? So it's not like on the streets, you'll see me just in pink, my hair will be pink, I'm wearing yellow shoes and green, I don't know, nipple rings and like, you know what I mean? So I'm just,
Okay.
colorful like that, but the color is mine. I chose it. It wasn't bestowed,
Okay.
so.
All right. All right. I hear you, but at least you're versatile. The pink is not, because I remember you had big candy floss hair that was very
Yes, and I was
nice.
trying to dye it pink, and I used food coloring, café la joie. And it came out purple and orange, and I was like, no, But now I've won
But
this battle.
at least you're versatile. All right.
Yeah.
Let's get to the crux of the conversation. As Redefining Beauty as a platform and as a movement, we're pro self-love, we pro body positivity, we pro, paying
Yes.
attention,
Yes.
paying attention, and these conversations are centered around body image. So I want to talk about your pregnancy. I want you to tell me more about
Sure.
your pregnancy. Nna ke o tseba o le lerato, slender summer catalog, petite, cute, and all of those things. And
Yes.
then,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
and then you became pregnant. What was that like? Did it challenge your body image? And talk to me about your pregnancy experience.
I mean, already as me, I had a lot of insecurities, as pretty as I was deemed to be, I could not hear it. So I couldn't receive it. I didn't see what people saw, So I already, before my pregnancy, I was quite insecure a lot in terms of the beauty thing, So you could have told me hore ke slender for days, and I'm just like, yeah, and I don't get why that's a thing. So I had a lot of insecurities. So that's why I just simply don't miss who I was back then, whether it's
You don't?
spiritually, physically, I don't. Spiritually, physically, emotionally, I don't, I really don't miss that person. So, you know, the change was very intense. It was intense because in as much as I was insecure, it was something I was kind of holding on to. Do you know what I mean? So o hola batho ba hopotsa hore when you are light skinned, when you are the prettiest of, and you lose friendships because of that reason. You lose a lot, for some reason. You're like, wait, how? I thought this was supposed to work for me, but it's working against me. Do you know?
Yeah.
So it became a very useless tool. I wanted to be known for my creativity. I wanted to be known for my intellect. I wanted to be challenged and supported in those areas. And that isn't something I grew up with. So I didn't really like that anyway. So that was absolutely the foundation of my insecurities. So to go through the pregnancy and it being like, okay, I get it, you don't like this, but now, bah, in your face, this is changing. Now what? It was
Mm-hmm.
really hard. I remember when my body started changing and my mother-in-law goes, hey, azangwana so my heart was broken. I didn't know I was pregnant. At that time, I was already 3 months pregnant, but I didn't know. And she's like, ah, and I was just like, and I was like, baby, right? And I just cried and father, I don't know, why is this a thing, And just that, I was just like, what's my king? I need to deal with this. I need to fix this,
I've got a
And
question.
I just didn't know. Yeah, sure. Go
But
ahead.
now you are small, Val, and then you gained weight, and the weight
Yeah.
gain didn't bother you, and then it took your mother-in-law telling you how umukimanyad. Then you found out you're pregnant.
Yes. Yes. That's exactly how that happens. Like Mama Zala was like, I think I'm a little checker, because, and I was just like, there's no ways I am, and then I did go check and yeah, for sure I was preggies.
Was it
So
a was it
the
a was it a nice pregnancy? Were you one of those? Because you didn't talk about it, you didn't post about it. You know,
yeah,
was it a nice pregnancy? Did you enjoy
my
being pregnant?
pregnancy, I actually did. I did until I couldn't sleep on my tummy. That was so frustrating. The main reason I enjoyed it was also because it happened in winter, and I came with Toratang winter. I get cold easy. So in the winter, I remember I was with a friend of mine in Parkhurst, and I was wearing like a crop top with my belly out and leggings and just like a cute kimono situation going to get some ice cream. And we would end up at the stores, and people would be looking at me like I was a crazy person. And nna ke re wa tseba ke ile ka ntšhaba le ntšhebile mo ile oh jeez. But I really enjoyed that part of being pregnant, and I really just want to fall pregnant through the winter. Like ke mission yaka, if I'm gonna have another child, we are doing it through the winter. It must happen. We're having summer babies. So 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 in
Okay.
terms of yeah, so in terms of um just getting into it, I needed it to be private because ke ne ke sa batle leshata. I didn't want a lot of advice around me, and I don't. And when your body changes, or when it's your first pregnancy, your first marriage, your first wedding year, your first honeymoon, people just are unnecessarily generous with
With
advice that you
advice.
didn't ask for, and it's from a good place. People, are trying to be like we, can laugh, but I didn't want to hear it. I mean, one of those things where like what I didn't want to hear the most were the traditional things, the exciting understanding, like where does it come from? You don't that whole thing that so one of my early frustrations were my kids' grannies never mutlima. Like the one was like, okay, waka, you've given birth for me, and I'm like, no, no. Or like now when they turn one, you must cut their hair, things like that. And I'm like, who died from not who died from not cutting their hair? Also, like I used to just exercise. I did a lot of exercise. Like I used to
Oh,
run
you were
with my
pregnant.
belly. Yeah, and the treadmill was my favorite. I loved gym. Gym was awesome because I was pregnant, and I used to be that preggy who was like, like, those clips that you see like in American gyms of those women that are like, hey, ooh. And I was so OTT. I was OTT at gym. Like, oh my God, it's as if like I was like, guys, I'm pregnant. I'm running. You must
Okay.
know this is happening, and it was fun. That gym really made it fun for me. Yeah,
Okay.
I
Oh
that's
no,
why.
okay. It means you had fun, but now I'm more interested in. You've always been small. You've always been petite. Now you're not as
Sure.
small as you were back from when
Yeah.
you are a bit bigger. You got fuller hips and all of that. Did your
Yes, and
so
I
I
like
want you
the
to tell me? Yeah,
yo
talk to me
guys, I have
about
this dress.
your beauty definition, and did that change?
So I okay, this guy comes out, the baby pops out and my body's still like fake. Yo, karaka musu omo, ne? For the first time in my life, you know me, like I'm petite. Yo, that dress, girl, naked cleavage. Oh my God, I was so juicy. I was just like,
Ile size
guys,
ma.
isn't it?
Ile size ma.
Nikile, the dress is a bandage dress, and I bought a small kamabom. Cosmos Tamile because what I did for myself was I started following thicker women who were very fashionable and who were confident, and I found so much inspiration. Like fancy couch, hey, like I stopped following like celebs, who just like bona after birth in 5 seconds they're like you know and then I just followed those girls, with thick the crops. I foot force, got myself a bandage dress, and I was just like, OMG, guys, this is so delicious. Like, but the problem I was having with that weight was the fact that I couldn't walk up the stairs as fast as I wanted to. I couldn't run as fast as I wanted to. I
Yeah.
was out of breath. So that just simply didn't work for me. That's the only reason. I mean, yeah, Guys,
Okay,
just like
so
I liked it.
how where are you have you snapped back, and are you nervous about snapping back into you not you okay, you said you don't want that body anymore, but are you not gonna snap back? It's been 2 years.
Look, I suppose it's not the body that I don't want anymore. It's what it meant for that person at that time that made it almost like burdensome. Do you know what I mean? Um, if I snap back, I would love to snap back. Like I would love to get my abs back, right? But I'm happy with the whiteness of my hips. That is probably the most exciting thing in my life right now. Just like my hips are so much wider.
That your hips are wider.
Yes. Okay, so I like my widened hips. I just want to like just shape it up, to be like firm because I also like fashion. That's the
Yeah.
other trick. Like when you are almost like plus size, fashion is limited, and you become just a bit more self-conscious. Ya hore, okay, ke kentse bikini ya tswa hape mara ke kopa skipanyana. I don't want to be like that, not
Okay.
anymore. I don't know. I loved it, but now I'm just like, no, ke batla bikini lena. I don't need to be like super flat, tubby or whatever. I don't owe anybody that. Mara ke nna ke batla gore ke kenye wa bona tswapenyana just for myself, be
You're,
very
you're a
yes, girl.
strange child. You are a strange child. Like you're really a strange child. So now, and you're saying you made deliberate decisions to stop following certain people and to now
Absolutely.
start following fuller figured people. What's up with that one?
Look, it was a consciousness, guys. A re ska buang maaka, Instagram e na le fitlhela ka peer pressure, and that gets so real. And then ke rata diaparo, right? So I follow like some of the boutiques, and I mean, the hourglass there, kore la motho a o jwetsa lerato, no, those are ba di bitsang photoshopped. Ke re no, mara this is possible. I with this, and that became toxic because the reason it becomes toxic is because you keep disqualifying yourself. So even if you've made progress in 1 week, you just go, it's not good enough, it's not good enough. So you start creating this bar as if somebody cares about it. Nobody cares. Nobody cares until the picture's out there and everybody sees it. And actually it just doesn't matter. You don't owe the world's perfection. And that's something I needed to learn to say even to myself, hore, girl, perfection ke how in your definition. So
But now,
just choose that for yourself.
is it only now, postpartum, now that you have a bigger body and wider hips, that you feel like you don't owe anyone perfection? But when you were smaller and pipe, were you feeling like you owe people perfection?
Kelly, I was smaller because I was poor. It wasn't always a choice. No, for real, just because. But that,
Okay.
dude, it's like we were broke. I mean, when I was 13, I was the biggest I'd ever been. I was size 32. Only
Yeah.
because I was younger, it was in a different shape, but I was a bit bigger. I was fuller then. But I was
Yeah.
depressed when I was 14 and 13. I was going through a lot. I was going through the most, like probably the worst time of my existence. Do you know? But I was skinny because, well, firstly, yeah, I went through. So I grew up in Cold Boombi. So I was already, as a baby, they always reminded me of how fat I was because I was like, guys, this food, it must be done. I don't know why you guys are fighting against me. I used to be that girl on a Kera 6 license, guys, in primary school. And I had there's this class photo where ke rata diqepe. I saw that from my sister, right? Mara Jersey iqalang le mo skete se qalang is one region, because I was so round. And
I find it hard to believe. I'll tell you,
oh,
I find
I'll
it very
find the
hard to
photo. I'll find the photo for you. And I was shamed a lot. I was shamed a lot,
believe.
especially, yeah, Koskolo, when we went for swimming classes, I was the rounder one and I was shamed a lot. I wasn't sports fit, so there was a lot of shame there. So then there's that pairs up to the fact that you guys are not rich. You know, you guys don't always have enough food in the house, you know. I mean, dude, I used to hang out with like boys. I mean, nekile motho wa kota, guys. Kota Pasha was a thing, you know. I miss those days. Those days where I could have like a whole kota and not see it anywhere on my body. I miss that, you know.
But when did you
But
become
I
small? Nakudziwa uli small. Uli.
no, I had negative depressed again. I promise you it was an emotional issue. It was probably also hormonal, but also it was an issue of being broke. I mean, now when I went to school, my dad used to give me like 5 rands once in a while, Kera. And if Nirnales Kaftini, I had to like just lower Kaftini, Shapadi 2 slices, you know. At some point, because I was such a lazy child, Nikita as Kaftini. So kikira mazimba, you know, adituranta, or I would just suck on like a lot of candy, and I was just, you know, so outside I looked like it looked like life was together, but there were real life struggles.
Okay.
So
Within
I
that,
think that's how I was
really
skinny.
thought. I thought you were skinny because you know you've always been skinny all your life. Ki jeans
Nah.
and you know ki body structure ya koluna. Because I knew your sister as well. You know, so I thought
Yeah.
ki that thing. And so I was going to ask you, having been a person who was always small, and it was just easy to be small, but now that you are a little bit fuller figured, what the transition is it
Yeah.
are you working hard towards your snapback body?
I I'm working hard towards a better body, not a snapback body, or because now that definition is also different. I just like being the thickness. I just don't want a certain portion to just exist. You know, like I said, like I've got silver stripes now. Um, my hips are wider. I'm happy with the whiteness of my hips. I just wish, you know, my boobies stayed up, but you know, that's another story for another day. Uh,
So you never had stretch marks, nothing, and they only
no,
developed
I'd
after
never.
pregnancy.
Yeah, all of that is new, and I'm actually finding those even hot. I'm just like, oh my gosh, guys, like, wow, like I'm starting to just like just you know, this part. So what I'm aiming for is more of a better shape in this size. Do you know what I mean? Instead of me trying to
Really,
go back to who I was. I don't
really,
care
and
about that.
this is wait again. I'm so tempted to ask a like, is this all you, or there's someone else that's like saying, I like this, I like this body, because then now I'm told a lot. No, this body, I like it. Back then you looked too hungry.
Yeah, we were poor. No, actually, my partner does not give me that kind of feedback, and he's been consistent in telling me, "Hore ke motho," you know, which I really absolutely appreciate. It was just hard to believe, but that's an issue of self more than it is a
Yeah,
reality. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
So in terms of, I got over him I got over him giving me the feedback of whether I'm hot or not in terms of my body shape. Um, and right now, I just simply don't care. Like
Right. So tell
I
me, are you not
it's
shamed at all? Like, because like maybe if Nana Kubana frequently in the new
yeah,
body, I would say, well, huh,
yeah,
sisters,
yeah, yeah,
reteng, reteng,
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
But tell me, are you not shamed at all? Are people not shaming you?
I just can't hear that anymore. When I walk down Goyesu and I visit the streets, everybody goes, "Whoo, hi, you look exactly like your mom." And I'm just like, so at some point I was like, I do not know what to do with that information. But now I just don't care. I've always thought my mom was beautiful. Like ever since I was
Yeah.
a kid, I always dated my mom and I was like, wow, I think you're such a pretty woman. Like what a wow, you know? So now it's becoming a compliment for me. But if you met me and you're like, you've picked up, I'd be like, yeah, because rather what matters to me is how I feel in the clothes I'm wearing more than feedback.
But has it always been like wait again?
No.
You know those people that become profound and woke after birth, like, and then like pregnancy like gives them this wisdom and this
I will.
enlightenment? Like, do you
I
oh
will
wait,
not.
wait, do you feel like, after giving birth to a human being, you like this body is amazing?
Oh,
Don't mm,
dude, I will not lie to you. Like a post-pregnancy, postpartum was the best thing. I mean, I had my little depression, you know. I didn't breastfeed my kid for more than I stopped breastfeeding at 4 months
okay.
because I chose myself instead of the legal requirement or obligation to do it. And I used to be around family who used to be like, okay, Mara, no, why did you stop breastfeeding, girl? Like, what? Kira, why not tseba ngwana mang o kila bola ke formula? Just tell me. You know, I don't know any child, but besides that, you know, I postpartum was important for me. It was everything for me. It was so empowering because it just felt like a reboot for my whole life. Like, okay, we're starting over, we're starting a new chapter completely. Everything delete, delete, delete. It wasn't easy. It was an emotional fuck up. Like, I was just a mess emotionally, you know? And all I had carrying me was my faith. Like, it was emotionally strenuous. Um, and I think that's another reason why I stayed like cocooned and I wasn't out there sharing about my journey. I wasn't, because I was still figuring it out for myself, because I
Yeah.
had moments where I thought I'm gonna just go crazy. You know, I'm gonna lose it. But you know, I understood, you know, this means a lot more than I give it value, you know. And
But now,
the moment I
are you
accepted
getting,
that, yeah.
yeah? Are you getting
No, no.
external help, therapy, personal trainers, or
Uh
are you just like me? Woohoo! This body's okay.
I'm definitely not like woo. I want my shape to be different. I want my shape to be better for me, not for the pictures, not for anything else, but just for me. You know, I started out with a trainer. I did get a trainer. And I did do the whole Herbalife thing, guys. I was just like, I do need some kind of help because next time I do email, that's just it. Like, even if
Mm,
I like that shape, I was just too heavy, you know. And
yeah.
also, you know, you know, when we need to flip, you know, the I just like
Yeah. Mm,
yeah, Linda, let's be considerate. Because Linda,
yeah.
I would like to flip easy. You know, it would be nice to go
Okay.
back to those days at least so you could flip easy. But yeah, I remember I found physical trainer because and then I got onto like Herbalife. A friend put me on Herbalife. I got into that. Um, and then what else did I do? I did have a moment of therapy. There was a lady who just reiterated that I'm just being complacent and I need new perspective. Because
Mm,
it's a new chapter, you need new perspective.
mm-hmm.
Um, and the thing about perspective is that it's a muscle. And the moment you can practice to change perspective in a minute, you can change perspective in an hour. You can change perspective every day. So that helps with everyday life. Then I went to yoga, of course. Yoga Leona, you know, Yanswara Shapu, taught me a different kind of language, taught me perspective, taught me how to breathe, you know, so that you don't allow yourself to panic. You know, that even if the moment seems intense, at least you've got like physical exercise to teach you. Hammer, girl, hammer in, out. Yeah, take it for 5 minutes. Yes, you know, and then, you know, if something was hard, you know, whether emotionally or physically, yoga taught me to call it an opportunity, you know,
Mm,
instead of just a difficulty, you know. So then you look at it and you're like, okay, there's an opportunity to grow. What do I need to learn in here, you know? And then, yeah, and then I get spiritual from that, and I'm just like, okay, you know, and then I've got God by me.
okay. I want to talk about um the song Yahao in Bupil, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and that line that says Bupilo Habu is. And in my you was it written when you were pregnant? Because the release is after pregnancy.
It was written before, yeah, because I was working with Chris Lako. It was written before pregnancy.
Okay.
Um, like I said, there's a weird thing that happens to me when I'm writing lyrics. They always
Mm.
catch up with me. Like I write things and then I find myself needing to hear that message in the future. Do you know?
Okay.
It's a strange thing. It's a strange thing that happens, but that's how that works for me.
Tell me about what inspires your music? I mean, you picked a genre that is quite difficult even for me
To
to
consume, yeah,
understand. What you know?
yeah.
So what inspires um your music, your sound? What inspires it?
I did when I was in music school. I mean, we grew up in church, dude. Like, so in church, there were clear lines of what music was. It's
Mm.
R&B, it's hip hop, it's house, it's kwaito, it's jazz. These are the spectrums. If you can perform or sing here, ha, you're a musicist. There's a word I created called musicist. Anyway, so you're a musicist and you're good at this. If you qualify in these particular genres.
Mm-hmm.
And I struggled with believing in my talent for a very long time.
Mm.
Um, because also, like, I also come from a background where I didn't have the support to dream of being an artist, even if I knew I wanted to be one. There was nobody who was just like, yeah, you must go ahead. Look at you. I will support you. No, no, zero. Can't get your zero in terms of that. And then, I remember after doing the 9 to 5, being an assistant, being an administrator, I just remember just going, what, I just want to do music. And my partner absolutely encouraged me to just go ahead.
Yeah.
And then at Koskolong, I was introduced to genre, I was introduced to like what ska music. Ska is not reggae, but it's from the same line. This is how reggae music happened, how you perform rock and
Mm-hmm.
roll. I was just this concoction of music, how jazz, what we deem to be jazz today actually isn't jazz, um, how that genre came to life and what, and just the history of music was just like, oh my gosh, so now what are we doing? Trying to do what everybody else was doing. And I remember I was in the same class with Vusinova, right? And we used to have this curriculum where every week you'd perform a different genre of music. And one of the things that I remember experiencing Vusi in his fullness, in his totality, was him performing rock and roll, right? As a rock and roll vocalist, I was just like, what's up, king, Uh, um, why does R&B fella lifing, and he was already an established artist, and I was just like, Marakabanga, if you could just be the pioneer of Afro rock, was just like, nah, girl, I'm about the money. It needs to make financial sense, and this is my career, this is my life, and
Yeah.
from there,
Mm.
I was just like, okay, nah. When it comes to my identity in totality, I was still searching. I was still forgiving. I was still letting go. And already with my whole existence, I wasn't fitting in anybody's group. I was already failing with peer pressure.
Mm.
It was a heavy existence because your support system get touch and go. Your base get touch and go. That's if you ever had one. So then I was just like, naked full 100. I want to create my own genre. Kwaito did it. I just want to create my own genre. So I don't know. I started calling it Soweto Afro. And also, I had come from watching bands like both BCUC, Uju, and them. They were soul artists, but they were not traditional soul artists. I mean,
Mm.
BCUC, I remember BCUC ne ke bongoma bo kopaneng le rock and roll and jazz, and I was just like, heaven. And like kasi, these are all kasi bands. These are not like white people, 5FM listeners. This is all happening in the hood, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like somebody, everybody, like there's something
But are you
fresh, there's
saying
something
no?
new.
Are you saying there was no influence from bandmates or friends that you used to hang out with? Because from an outsider, you would seem like you chose alternative music because Obloma Limangamla too much.
Actually, I literally had one band white member. I was so grateful because that was WEE, you know, because when you have one member in your alternative band, it looks like you are serious, you know, because you walk around being called experimental. So if there's like one guitarist, Walingamla, you kind of look serious, you know, you look like you know what's going on. So I used his
Okay.
whiteness, you know, but also he was a very talented guy and he was such a soulful guy, you know. I say was because he's left the band.
Okay.
But I didn't have that many white friends.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, I actually didn't. It's just
Okay.
literally
Okay. So
just
now tell
him.
me, are you going to stay on course and be an alternative artist? Are you not gonna amapiano anything go
Yes!
and anything?
You know what? Le tampana strategy kama piano le house. I will dance to all of those genres because I absolutely enjoy being on the streets and like, you know, getting down to it. But for me personally, the mandate has been a journey of self-love and fighting to be different, you know, because you are different. I've never been a sheep. I'm not going to try to be, and that's something I'd like to instill in my own kids. You know, ukuthi no, kungcono sifane no Prince, because when Prince was making music in the 80s, nobody got Prince. Everybody was like, actually, what's this is not music. Delete. Thank you. Bye. God. And it's suddenly like, you know, late 2000, before the 2020s, late teen 2000s, he's suddenly like monumental and an icon and an inspiration and
Is
wara 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 wara.
that, whoa, is that your life goal to not be understood right now, to only be understood later?
Actually, on the contrary, the people who would understand me are a lot of church people. You know, you find like the journey that we have in common, especially as like church kids who live in an alternative world. So you're creative, you're a church person, you're spiritual, but you're also on the streets. And you know, when we grow up, they call it like a double lifestyle. But you're like, actually, no, I'm actually all of this. You know, I'm
Okay.
actually all of this. I'm not one type of either Christian or one type of fundi. Like all of this is availed to me to explore. I just have never been given the right or the freedom to be all of it
Okay.
and at any time. And so, you know, this was a imperative conversation with my team to go, okay, dude, who are you targeting with your music? And I'm just like, I'm targeting everybody that struggled with an identity, you know, that is unconventional, you know. And it's not that it's unconventional, it's that you are required to be one person to be accepted. And that's an issue for a lot of youth. Just from being a teenager, you know, it's such a tough journey to just be a teenager, have pimples, have tits, have like pubic hair, and
Mhm.
everybody's trying to put you in some sort of something, and you are trying to find a tribe, and you work so hard to be equal, to be the same, to fit in, to hide. And, you know, you find yourself in your adulthood like going, holy smokes, you know, I've wasted a whole 10 years trying to be this one person, you know, and I could have been
Yeah.
all of them, you know. And that's why it's tough to say that it's for everybody, but it kind of is, you know, if I had to elaborate. So I guess you'll only know if I'm elaborating, but that's a gift I'm giving myself, that I wasn't acknowledged the way I wanted to be. I wasn't given enough room to just play around and be accepted in all of the different me's that I was. And so I'm just going to give myself that gift and hopefully share that and give other people that allowance to just hamba kahle, comrade, ngena, you know,
Yeah, I
into
think
this
I think
journey.
I think when it comes to
Exactly.
this thing or this music thing, you you are doing what the thing that I don't like about artists.
Yeah, I know. I
Because
hear
it
you.
would seem like you are writing music for yourself, and you are it's like you're not serving the people, but it doesn't seem like
Yeah.
you are that. So you're tailoring you're tailoring this. It's not.
The
Just like
problem, the
your example, Gavus. You know.
Yeah. I mean, the problem for me has always fundamentally been the fact that there is genre in this country. And when you look at who owns or monopolizes what we hear and what we deem as
Mm-hmm.
beautiful music, acceptable music, it's not
Mm-hmm.
us. If you have to go into African music in general, tribe to tribe, there's no such thing as genre, tribe to tribe. You know, people
Yeah.
was so absolutely like people made music on the spot. Mpaqanga, when it comes to guitar licks and actual guitar philosophy or guitar theory, Mpaqanga is a fail. Like they don't use the chords that are Western. It's like
Mm.
if you had to go to Asia and in India, dude, there are more notes in
Okay.
Asian
Okay.
music than there are on a piano. And so we've been westernized and rather we've been cooked to be consumers. And, you know, to make people consumers, you have to make this an education, make it institutionalize a certain brainwash because you
I
need them
get
to
that.
love this so that they believe that that's the identity of this. And then
I
if
get
you
that.
don't
I
like it,
get
then
that.
you're weird, right?
I get.
So,
Yeah.
so like I'm saying, like it's like the history of music turned my theory of where I could go music around. You know, when you look at where R&B starts from, R&B starts from a collection of black people who took church music and just changed words. You know, so they will take a hymn and just move, you know, certain words just to fit in to what you deem as
Mm.
commercial listening. You know what I mean? I mean, we
Yeah.
all know how R. Kelly plays us. You know, you like no matter eleki
No,
kodi, yako
tell
change.
what I want.
I'm just
No, no, no.
saying, I get it. We're 90s kids. Sorry, we're 90s kids.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's how that happened. When you look at where rock and roll started, rock and roll is actually black. It's not even white. Do you know, when you understand how reggae became reggae when Bo Bob Marley and the Islands, they used to listen to music e breaker. So imagine you're listening to music via Wi-Fi ya breaker. Do you know? So when you're trying to sing R&B songs, so you're trying to sing Binaya the Manhattans because you've only known it e breaker through the Wi-Fi. You think that's how
So
the
when
song
are you
happened.
creating a
So
genre?
they
You are creating a genre.
I think I'm cooking a lot. I don't think I'm creating. I think what I'm doing is taking from everything I've ever been inspired by, and like and my general frustration with the fact that in South Africa, in Africa, we have been taught that this is what music is, and it's only for us to consume and not to even support our own. Because,
Okay.
you know, if you're not singing R&B, what else are you doing? Do you know?
Mhm.
So
Okay.
it's
Well, yeah. I don't
yeah,
like for yeah.
rebellion.
I don't like for yeah, you do seem like rebellious Nyana. Because you're going off script and you're going off the trail. Um,
Sorry. I was watching
but
Donald Trump and I was watching the debate. Sorry. Donald Trump and sorry.
okay. No. That's not what I mean. I meant with your career and your life
Yeah,
choices
yeah,
and your
yeah,
choice of identifying yourself and your fashion sense and and
yeah,
that's what I'm referring to when I say going off script, and
yeah,
that's
for
what
sure,
I'm
sure.
referring to as a person in J. You are always like charting a new course, which is admirable because I think that's very difficult to do. Birthing an idea, introducing things that are not easily understood. It's a very difficult thing. So I applaud you for that. And I don't want Instagram ibe yona ekhathang this call. So ke batla ho fetsa this call hantle.
And then,
I didn't see any questions. I just saw a lot of hearts and a lot of love. And
yeah,
Bonolo saying it's amazing. It's an amazing way to serve what you're doing. And Tebucho saying a whole lot of other things that were making me want to keep going. But I just saw a lot of love. I didn't see any questions, which is a good
that's
thing. I
right.
think I've covered the questions, but I just want you to leave, conclude or give a summary, because you seem
Yeah,
very intentional. You seem very intentional about the things that you do, from your style to your dressings to how you live to, how you navigate life yourself as an artist
yeah.
and as a person. So, what's the one thing that you would want to teach other people, especially females? I mean, this platform is we are inclusive. Men are allowed to be part of these conversations and stuff.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
but the movement is for females. You know, the movement
Yeah.
is tailored for females, and pushing the message of self-love, positivity. So
Yeah.
what's your message? What would you like to teach?
Yeah. First of all, self-love is a journey. So you don't wake up next morning loving yourself. It happens. We're human. Self-love is a journey, and it's a journey worth embarking on. And it's important for every woman to fight for themselves, so that you don't fight to fit in just because somebody's told you that this is what's working. If we continue in that way, we start looking alike, we start disliking ourselves, we start teaching our own kids not to like themselves. I was going to say something controversial like nasty C, but that's not what I wanted to say. But the point is, fight for yourself. You already was once a teenager, and you know how hard it
Yeah.
was, to to go through all of that, but you had to go through that for a reason. And so there's no point in like fitting in and being a yes sir, yes ma'am person. It doesn't build a community. I mean, that's the reason why we end up in communities where everybody becomes about individuals, because actually everybody's trying to fit into something. Imagine if you were just the strong individuals embracing other individuals for being individuals. Fight for yourself. You are lovable the way you are, and embark on the journey of self-love. It's important, that thing. And nobody will give you enough love.
I'm gonna quote you soon. Fight for yourself. I'm gonna create something with that one. I love that. Hello,
Yeah.
Lerato.
This was fun. The two.
Yeah.
This is Ella closing. This is Lerato. Thank you. It was an honor. It was an honor,
man. It was absolutely lovely chatting. And to everyone that has joined, thank you. I'm sorry I couldn't read the comments and all the love. I saw the hearts flying. Thank you for tuning in. I have these conversations every Wednesday, 7 p.m. I talk self-love, body positivity. I talk all things beauty. I talk to women. I talk about simple stories, because I believe that it's simple stories like yours that will empower and inspire another woman. So that's it for today's installation.
Thank you.
Please follow our page. Join the conversations. You can post the comments afterwards and ask Elo questions, since I didn't get a chance to.
And you can follow me at Elo_ZAR. Tell them.
Yes, do the right things, my people.
Do the right things. Follow us. Support. Thank you, guys.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Night, Elo.
Bye-bye.